Hey, welcome to Life Group. We're in a series looking at the word but, when God says the word but and what that means for us. 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 12 says this, "This is why I'm suffering here in prison, but I am not ashamed of it, for I know the one whom I trust, and I am sure that he is able to guard what I have entrusted to him until the day of his return." So what we have here is Paul's in a prison, but he said, but this prison isn't holding me, it's not keeping me down. I still have this incredible trust in God. And two things he's trusting. I know, and the word know means to force meaning of something that has meaning. What Paul is sitting there saying, man, I know God's alive. I know he's real, but I'm going to force that reality into my own life. People, it's not good enough just to believe the Bible. It's got to become real for us. Otherwise, we're just playing church. We're just going through the motions. And Paul says, I know. I literally force something that has meaning to have meaning in my life. And that's why even he's in prison, he's forcing this through his mind. Here's where it happens, through our mind. And then he goes on to say, and he's able to guard. That means that Paul knows he's not lost in the shuffle. When we're in a prison like that, it's easy to think, wow, does God even know what's going on? What's happening to me? Paul says, I don't get lost in the shuffle. I know, I force the meaning that God knows where I'm at. Illustration of that would be the story of Isaac. Isaac was one of the three patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Well, Abraham's dead. Abraham had the promises, I'm going to make you into a great nation. Well, now there's Isaac. Isaac has no Bible. He has nothing except the word from his dad. And he's carrying that on his shoulders. And he comes up and says, man, is this real for me? Is that nation still going to happen? Because if it's going to happen, it's got to happen through me. Are the promises here applicable to me? So the first thing he did is he reopened the wells. And wells have a figurative idea there that they represent truth of God. No time to really go into that. They just represent God's truth for our lives. And so what he does is he redigs and reopens the truth and the promises that God gave to Abraham, and he renames the wells the original names. The Philistines are the ones that filled them in. And Philistines literally mean non-Israelites in the promised land, non-covenant people in the promised land. And so what they're sitting there, covenant would be our relationship to God. These people don't have a covenant, and yet they live there. And rather than dig wells of the promise, they fill them in. Those are the people that always have discouraging words, that are always against us, that are always piling in when we're trying to pursue God. Well, Isaac wasn't good enough just to open Abraham's wells. He wanted to dig his own wells. Twice he tried to dig wells. And when we were in Israel, we discovered that wells are between 70 and 150 feet deep. And remember, they didn't have backhoes. They were digging with shovels, buckets, and rope. And twice he dug a well, and twice the enemy showed up and fought against him and claimed his promises. So he's striving to force something that has meaning, to have meaning in his life, and he's running into hostility. People, you make a move toward God in this way, there will be hostility. But the key thing here is he didn't give up. The third time he dug a well, and there was no hostility, and God appeared to him after that, and the promises that he believed became applicable to him. God appeared and said, I am the God of your father Abraham. He said, do not be afraid. I am with you and will bless you and will multiply your descendants, and they will become a great nation. I will do this because of my promise to Abraham, my servant. Then Isaac built an altar there and worshiped, and he dug another well. That this is a place of truth. People, we have to be like Paul. I may be in a prison, but I'm going to force a truth into my life. I'm going after it. How do you do that? We continue to cast the thoughts toward him, negative thoughts, discouragement. One person said, God is like a bank where we make deposits. We give him our sin, we give him our discouragement, we give him our frustration. And a lot of us are good at that. We cry out to prayer like that, but we never withdraw from the bank. We're supposed to withdraw peace, joy, patience. So what we do is we begin to get in here. God, this has meaning, but it's got to have meaning to me. And I continue to pursue it until it becomes alive. I'm going to dig into this until it becomes alive in my life. That's a lesson we can learn from Paul and Isaac. Have a great night.